Alright, so let's jump right into it. Get yourself a bag of Yukon Gold potatoes. Wash them off quick, start peeling them all up. Then I want you to chop them up into quarters, throw them into, a big pot, boil that for about 20 minutes, check it with a fork, and when it's tender, strain them, start mashing them up. The only thing you're going to add is a little vegan butter and a little bit of vegan cheese, and both of those are optional. You could just mash them up without any of that. And you're going to set that aside. You could also do this ahead of time. That's probably the best thing to do. Alright, so to make the dough for your pierogies, you're going to need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to use Heckler's. You're going to use 1 egg, and I'm using an egg replacer. That's by Bob's Red Mill brand. You could find that in like ShopRite, Wegmans, Whole Foods. And then you're also going to add a tablespoon of vegan sour cream. I'm using Tofutti, as well as a 1/2 cup of water. And by the way, between the water and the flour, you might notice, depending on the day and the humidity, you might need to add a little bit more flour or a little bit more water. But, you'll kind of, it's just kind of, it's just what it is. See how it is. If it's a little too dry, add a little bit more water. If it's a little too sticky, add a little bit more flour. Alright, so you're going to have all your dry ingredients in your mixing bowl, and you're going to add in the wet. And you're just going to mix it. What I was using was a large tablespoon just to mix it up by hand. I don't have a machine or anything. Then I spread out some flour on the table after I mixed it. And then this is where you're going to start kneading the dough. So what you're going to do is just take it out of the mixing bowl, place it on the table, add some more flour on top of it, and just kind of, start like folding it in half and, just kneading it. Add more flour as you need it, as much as you need. So after a while of kneading the dough, it's going to begin to come together, and you're going to notice it's going to feel like perfect. It's not going to be too firm. It's not going to be too loose. It's not going to be too sticky. And when you're closer to this point, kind of slow it down. Don't add as much flour, and you'll know by also like pushing it. Push it with your fingers. Feel it. It'll hold better. So get yourself a clean bowl. Put a little flour in the bottom so the dough doesn't stick. Throw the dough in. You could put it in kind of like a ball shape. Throw a clean towel over that. And this is going to sit for a 1/2 hour, just room temperature, so that the dough begins to rise and, set up. Okay, so after a 1/2 hour, the bread's all set up. It rose as much as it was going to rise. And I just took out a quarter of, roughly about a quarter of the size of the dough. Just cut it off or pull it by hand. Roll that out. I would say no thicker definitely than 1/8 of an inch, maybe between like a 1/16 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to take a cup, and you're just going to start pressing them out. Just punch them out and try to get as many as you can with the piece that you just rolled out. And if you see I'm grabbing, the leftovers, I definitely don't waste anything. That little bit I'm going to take again and add it back to the dough, re-roll it out, and, that's going to produce more pierogies. So, You're doing hard work, so make use of everything you make. Alright, so for each little circle you're going to take and re-roll out even thinner. Then you're going to take that, get a heaping teaspoon of your filling. Here we had the potato, and you're going to place that in the center. Be careful. And now how I like to do it is, while it's on the table, fold it over so that the two edges are meeting, and then pick it back up, and with your thumb and your pointer finger just start pinching it. And I like to follow it, use one hand following it with the other till it's closed up. And you want to be certain that it's completely sealed, because when you're going to cook them in the boiling water, you don't want it to have a little opening, because if it does, then it tends to open it up or the filling comes out, and then that's one less pierogi that you've made. So when I put the pierogies in the water, I make sure it's like medium-high temperature, and I won't put more than a dozen at a time. You don't want to crowd, you know, the pot. Even if it's a big pot, I'd rather take the extra time. And when I put them in, I let them go for 8 minutes, and then I'll remove them, and I'll just put them in like a Tupperware, and just have like you know, little, I'm using earth balance. Alright, so that wraps it up. How you make pierogies. It's very simple, it's easy, it's a little bit time consuming, but believe me, at the end of it, it's well worth all the work. And just where I left off at that video, you could either make them and just serve them up right there, you know, fresh out the boiling water, just with a little, you know, vegan butter. Or you could also store them for later, and I suggest reheating them in a frying pan, and you could just add a little bit more vegan butter, or if you had enough also in your Tupperware, just put that back in the frying pan and, you know, cook it, I would say, over like medium heat. And, you know, it depends how you want it. If you want it a little crispy, let it go longer. And that's it. And also, I just want to let you know that this is an authentic pierogi recipe I got from my grandmother, who's Polish and Czechoslovakian. And I'm also Polish, Czechoslovakian, and Hungarian. So believe me, this is an authentic recipe, you know? So I hope you guys enjoy it. And please like this video and also subscribe to my channel.